Welcome to the NinjaSportUK podcast. NinjaSportUK is a collection of some of the most recognisable and successful ninja athletes to ever have appeared on Ninja Warrior UK, as well as some of the most die-hard fans and supporters of the sport. It's our mission to see ninja sports recognised as an official sport in a future Olympic Games. So what's this podcast about? Well, it's a celebration of the return to ITV and ITV Hub of Ninja Warrior UK Race for Glory. In this series, we'll talk to those athletes lucky enough to get their chance, not just to stand on the start line of the course, but to race other athletes and even the team of professional pro ninjas. So sit back and relax as we find out how they trained, what it was like on set, and just how amazing Ninja Warrior Race for Glory really is. I'm your host, Matt Gopler. Enjoy the show. Good afternoon, welcome everyone to the NinjaSportUK podcast. This is episode 2 of the limited edition series celebrating the return to screens of Ninja Warrior UK. This time it's the Race for Glory, and what a fantastic first episode both on TV and for the podcast, so how could we not continue? And as you can see on your screens already, I've really ramped it up this week. We've gone from 4 guests to 5. Not only do we have 4 of the contestants that made this weekend's episode absolutely astonishing, and we will be hearing all about their runs, but we are also joined, as you can well see, by one of the pro elite ninja teams. So it's fantastic to have Ruel with us. We're going to get some insight on why we've got elite ninjas, where did they come from, and how do they cope with the pressure as well. However, without further ado, it would be really remiss of me not to introduce who I have with me. So, we have Emma Smith, we have Dr. Ninja UK, Andy, we have Shelley, we have Retro Dean, and we have Ruel. So, at home, give them a round of applause. I am delighted. I've met some of you so many times before, it's untrue. But I'm going to get you to introduce yourselves briefly. So, I'm going to start with you, Emma. Tell me a little bit about you. What's the day job? What's the background? Why ninja? And do you train specifically for it, or are you like me and just give it a go?
Hey, yeah, so I'm Emma. I'm a firefighter from Andover. That's my full-time job. All in my spare time, I just like to do a lot of body weight, calisthenics, obstacle races, anything on like a bar, anything where I'm using my arms, and just train at work as well as being training outside of work too.
Wow, are you not permanently exhausted though?
Yeah, I definitely like my naps.
Yeah, I am not surprised. That's amazing. Wow, fantastic. Now, I know this was not your first time on the show, because that's where we met. So, you came back. Was it the new format, or was it just the fact that it had come back that you were so excited you had to apply? How did it happen this time round?
So it was a little bit, I applied a little bit later this time. I wasn't sure if I was going to do it this time again, but I thought, you know what, it sort of reignited the thought, I'm going to just put it in and see what happens. And when I had the phone call, I just thought, oh God, this is happening. I've got to start training like more specifically for Ninja. Yeah, absolutely was ecstatic when I had the phone call.
It's amazing. And I'm going to talk to you about the fantastic flame covered costume later on. But Emma, so nice to meet you. And I'm going to jump straight on to Andy. So Andy, bear with me a minute. Talk to me about your experience, because your runs were fantastic. Nice to meet you. So obviously you're a doctor. Of what? Where? When? Tell me all about you.
Thank you. So I am an emergency medicine consultant. So I do A&E. I do that in Warsaw. Now, in terms of how on earth did I get into Ninja? So I've got a 5-year-old son called Ewan, and I was in the living room. I was just walking past the TV, and he's watching Ninja Warrior. He's watching the old Japanese Sasuke version.
Oh, okay.
And I suddenly got hooked, and we were watching it for a couple of hours. I was like, I need to do this. This looks awesome. So, we go down to the park and we start making, obstacle courses. We've got this fantastic one in the village. We call it the arm melter. And it is, in terms of like a cliffhanger, it's utterly filthy. And I'm competing against a child who weighs less than 20 kilograms. So I just feel he has an unfair advantage on me. So we end up, the two of us, we do a lot of Ninja Warrior. We do a lot of climbing together as well.
Okay.
And in between working, I do a lot of like body weight exercise as well. You see my pull-up bar in the background as well.
Yeah.
Essentially, working and being a dad, I just have to fit in exercise wherever I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Snatch it where you can. So, was it your son that really made you think, I've got to apply to this? And was he just ridiculously excited when he found out you were actually going to be on the show?
Yeah, I mean, we'd been going to the ninja parks for quite a while, and then obviously Ninja Warrior came up, and I was like, I have to do this. This is going to be fantastic, and it was really good because he got to come into the audience. He got to see me compete. It was brilliant.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But I tell you, all he can say afterwards is, when do I get to do it? So how old do you have to be?
Well, we'll talk to a pro elite about that and find out about starting them young, because there's some background on that. But Andy, nice to meet you. Let's shoot straight over to Shelley. Shelley, let me say hello to you. Your run was fantastic as well. I really enjoyed it on Saturday. But tell me a bit more about you. Who, why, where, when, and how come Ninja?
So I'm Shelley, originally from Southport, but I do actually live down in Swindon now. Okay. I'm an auditor by day, so typically not even considered to be the kind of people who even go outside, let alone do sports. Standard desk job, 9 to 5. And I got into Ninja, I guess, actually, funnily enough, pretty much 2 years to the day was the first time I stepped foot in a Ninja gym. And I went to one of the adventure parks in Gloucester when they were doing a time trial. And I actually met Dino and set a time in this sort of short course UK OSF day against Dean. I think he was about 7 times faster than I was through this course. And I kind of got hooked.
Wow.
And I train at a gym in Swindon now, True Function. I can drop them in there.
Yeah, no, we will.
Predominantly for obstacle course racing, so some of the big ninja stuff still eludes me, especially being 5'2". Yeah.
Okay.
As you can see, stood next to Emma on course, there was a bit of a difference. But it's been a journey these past 2 years.
Yeah, you know what? Funny enough, we had Angelique on, who I think is about the same height as you last week, and she said exactly the same thing. It was all okay until she stood at certain things and went, "Oh, that's a really long way away." So,
leap of faith.
I love it. Wow, you got to take a leap. So nice to meet you. I will speak to you again very soon. Now I am going to jump on to someone I have known for a very, very, very long time. Dean Cheetham is a bit of a legend in the sport. You've been around as long as I've known the sport. We've competed together, we've trained together, and you've very kindly got me involved with the openings of the Ninja Warrior parts. But listen, for anyone that doesn't know who you are and where this all began, tell us all about you. Tell us about the background, when have you been on before, and tell us about this year.
So just need to check first, how long have you got? Because I could literally
I know
hours and hours about Ninja.
Yeah, go for it. Go for the quickest summary we've got.
In a nutshell, I'm working at Total Ninja now. So I work at a Ninja Warrior park. I coach Ninja as well. As you know, as we know each other, matching T-shirts.
Yes.
We're both part of NinjaSportUK. So we do a lot of events together, which is a great way to get down and meet the public. You know, some of the fans that have been watching the show for years. It's good to give something back to those guys as well. From a training point of view, things have changed this season. I've been taking up climbing as well. For the longest time, it's always been just ninja and parkour. But I thought grips were kind of one of the main things that if you're going to fall, it's going to be grip and forearm strength. So that's really the key thing that I changed this season.
And did it help? I mean, having trained with you before, I would never have said you were shy of grip strength, but did you notice a difference?
To be honest, I didn't have time to check. It felt like it was that quick, it was over, please.
You were involved in 2 incredibly fast races, I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But I have seen some of the stuff online and it does look like you're getting strong.
Yeah, so it does help.
I will come back and talk to you shortly, but before I do, I'm going to keep you there and bring in someone else who, again, we've known for an absolute age here, another legend of the sport, but talk about playing a bit of a sly one, sir, because Ninja Sport UK as an organisation, we were wildly excited, and you're part of the group as well, and we were all talking online, it's coming back, it's great, and then we were talking pro ninjas, and we were guessing this person and that person, and then a photo appeared on Instagram of you and a group of other people having dinner, and everyone went, "Oh, you sly fox, sir, come on, how did it happen?"
I love that introduction. How did it happen? To be honest, I think for me, I loved the idea of being the elite ninja. So as soon as I saw the role come available, I kind of just spoke to people that I knew within the show, and kind of put myself forward for that role straight away. Hadn't really even started training for ninja at all, but I just preferred that role. I quite like, from my ultimate tag background, and other things I've done, I quite like the role of just chasing people anyway. So it's just, it's a no-brainer for me.
And was there a sense of, you knew you were probably, not even maybe, but probably going to be up against someone that you knew, you've probably trained with, you respect. How did that sit with you, or were you excited about that? Because, come on, we're going to talk to the pair of you shortly, but, I mean, wow.
I loved it. That part of it was... it was great. I think with Ninja, it's one of those things. It's like we're all trying to beat a course, but it's also we've all got to beat each other as well. So it was all part of it. I loved it. I loved racing you guys and chasing you guys down. To be honest, if I'm honest with you, probably the main reason I didn't really feel like I had it. I feel like I was probably a bit too old to be winning the show, so I didn't really feel like I was going to be able to win it as such. So I felt like, let's just go in and just be an elite ninja and just play it that way instead.
Well, I see. I have a theory about this, and I'll talk to you about that later on. But it's so good to have you here, and Dean as well. I'm going to bring everyone back on screen now, so nobody move. Folks, the thing about this show is this brand new format has really changed things. For me, I found it incredibly exciting watching the first 2 episodes. It's added a new dimension, but Shelley and Andy, it was your first experience of this, so I'm really keen to bring you both in and talk to you. First of all, had you watched previous series? And second of all, given the choice, would you still prefer this new race format, or would you have liked the opportunity maybe to have gone just you versus the course? So I'm going to bring you both on screen so you can answer this. Andy, how about you?
Oh, this is a tough one, really. So I'd say for me, running the course, I'd have loved to take my time a little bit and enjoy the experience, really suss out the obstacles. Don't get me wrong, it was so stressful being up there doing the race, but in terms of making exciting viewing, the race was awesome. I think when I watched it back, I was like, I can see why they did that. That was brilliant.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, certainly being up there the first time and knowing you have to beat someone, you get all these different questions in your head, like shall I go on the first swing, or shall I take this chance, or shall I just go that a little bit faster? Yeah. We're all competitive people, so we all end up going a little bit quicker than perhaps we should do.
Now, I will say this. I think it was on the second or third obstacle for you. There's a photo I found online as well. You seem to have an ape index that's either inordinately large, or the photo is taken from a fantastic angle, because you're spanning between 2 grips and your arms just look like they're outstretching the guy you were up against by about a foot. I mean, are you tall? Do you have a big ape index, or is that just really interesting photography? Because the picture's astonishing. I'll try and find it and drop it in if this goes out on YouTube.
Oh, hey, all I can say is it's good to know that I'm looking good up there, but...
Oh, yeah. Well, you had Rochelle's heart fluttering. I can safely say that, as I'm sure you noticed. She does like a doctor, and she did say that. And Shelley, so how about you? First time on course, and suddenly you're racing head-to-head. And I know you say you've done OCR, so you're used to being in a race scenario, but how did it feel when you're up there, you walk down those steps, and then you hear those beeps?
I guess. So yeah, racing head to head, going off on a start line with a group of people is something that I'm used to.
Yeah.
Tend to try and run my own race, sort of regardless. but you do find that like you are spurred on by having someone next to you, so you might be like having to make bolder decisions than normally you would. I mean, I guess we all saw on my race though that didn't always happen. You know, I didn't do the leap straight away. Maybe if I had, I'd have been swimming, but you know, it sort of played it to my own. And
you raise an interesting question there, so I'm going to ask you both this, and you can both think about it. Having looked back at your runs, because I know that feeling of when you think, should I have gone? What if? Have you replayed it several times or hundreds of times since, thinking, if I'd done that, would it have been different? Or have you just gone, it was an amazing experience? How about you, Shelley?
I've watched it about 100 times. I just think, so my first thing was honestly, don't come off on the shrinking steps, because at this point, you know, it's that first obstacle that you can make a mistake on. I'm just like, okay, we've got past that one, and then visibly I think you can see me literally after each obstacle I'm ticking them off in my head, and I'm like, okay, we've got one more done, more done. And then it gets to the point, obviously, as you know if you've watched it, that but literally to get us both at the wall at pretty much the same point, and for myself, like having never been up a walk ball before, the first time ever up and over a walk ball was on the show.
Oh wow.
Thank you. I've also been dealing with an ankle injury, which is why I wasn't able to train it in the run up to the show. Wow. So literally, I had the best possible outcome I could have dreamed of for that day. And love it. It was, it felt incredible. Going against Emma was just incredible as well.
It was there were some great moments from your run, you know, the camaraderie at the start, but I'll talk to you both about that in a minute. Andy, talking to me about your first run, so your heat, if you will. Did you have strategy? Did you surprise yourself, or were you really that confident? Because you did look supremely calm, I have to admit.
Oh, thanks. You know, I think that comes from doing emergency medicine. You have to remain calm on the outside. You're screaming on the inside, obviously, but and you know, it's the same feeling, like you're just staring down at those shrinking steps going, don't fall on the shrinking steps. Don't fall on the shrinking steps.
Yeah, nobody wants to do that one.
No. Beyond that, I thought it was a fantastic experience. I always think that, you know, if we ever got more than one chance to run this, you know, how much quicker you could be if you knew what you could reach, you know, with the first swing, or, you know, or when you needed to take a second swing on things, or when you didn't need to dive off like a ball bridge or something like that, you know, those sort of lessons you learn.
Hey, they're a horrible obstacle. Well, listen, it was really good. I'm gonna drop you out and bring Emma in. I've got a question for Shelley, and I want to keep Emma here, Emma and Shelley rather. So bear with me. Don't do that. Listen, the two of you here, your race was phenomenal TV. Like I say, the camaraderie, it was a big smile. I think there's a big hug at the start. You look like you'd had words before, you know, be backstage even, about let's just go out and enjoy this, but it was so close. Now, Emma, you've been there before, you've got that experience on course. How was it for you this time, A, having someone next to you, and B, did it help you? Because you look so, I don't know, you were bursting with smiles. That's the only way I could describe it. You looked like you were just having fun.
Yeah, so as soon as we still got picked out with Shelley, we sort of went and sat with each other and were speaking for ages and got on really well. So we already built up this like relationship backstage of like just like really similar characters, got on really well. So when it came to actually having to race each other, I'm so soppy as well, and I am competitive, but because we got to know each other, my like evil streak had gone, and I was just like, I just want both of us to get up that wall. I was even contemplating, thinking, what if we both get up there at the same time and hit the buzzers at the same time? Like, is that a loophole? Like, I was trying to figure out like a way of. So yeah, I was just trying to enjoy it. I wanted to encourage Shelley like as much as possible as well. I wanted us to both just enjoy it and have good fun. Yeah,
it was fantastic. So I wanted you both on screen to say thank you for making some fantastic TV on that one, because you couldn't have planned that race better. It looked great. But talking of epic races, folks, I'm gonna just drop you out a minute and bring Dean and Ruel back in. But Dean, you got to race in your heat an absolute, as you put it, a legend and a hero of yours from the parkour world. Okay, Sebastian Foucan. I mean, anyone that knows anything about parkour, free running, or even ninja almost certainly knows his name. Now, I know you're a very cool guy. I know you're very, very focused. But how did you feel when you knew it was you and him? Were you excited, or was there a little bit of nerves?
Oh yeah, absolutely elated. I spoke to Jamie after from casting,
right,
and he was saying they wish they had a camera on me for that experience. So literally 5 minutes before we all sat down to find out who we're going to be racing against, Seb comes walking in. So I go charging over to Seb, and it's like, "Oh, Seb, nice, big hug. So glad that you're on the show. Can't wait to da-da-da. We'll see you in the finals." This, that, and the other, having a chat. You know, then when we sit down, we go through the names, and literally the first name to come out of the hat. So at first we've got Sebastian Foucan, and the whole room just went silent. And it's like, and he's going to be up against Retro Dino, and the whole place just erupted. It was like, what? Oh
no!
You know, I looked over at Seb and said, "Can I take that hug back?" A big hug, fist bump, and said, "You know what? All we're going to do, we're literally the first ones to run. We're going to put on a performance. If we go out in style.
Yeah.
Race like we wanted. We were both hungry for it, and I think that was what spurred us on to get those fast times through there."
Oh, I mean, it was such an epic race. Now, hold on, I've got to bring Ruel in here a minute. What I don't know, this is a bit of behind the scenes. Do you, as the pro elites, know the order first? Did you know who was up against, or is it all in that moment? And then do you have a monitor? Are you watching the heats as well? So are you getting a bit of sort of form, should we say, and a bit of insider knowledge?
Not as much as you might think. We did know. Did we know? I think we did know, but not that much before you guys, I suppose. But we did kind of know who was racing who.
Right.
Maybe it's the night before, maybe just earlier. It was there earlier in the day. So not from it was kind of last minute, like for those orders.
Yeah.
I didn't. Obviously, you only look at so many people because everyone's there. You don't have a clue who's racing who at that point, and you just. I have no idea. Didn't actually know Dean was racing Foucan, but it was a quality race. Obviously, I'm a free running background.
Yeah,
20
I know,
years.
right?
Obviously, he's an absolute legend.
Yeah.
And obviously, I've known Dean for ages as well. So I was like, no. So yeah, I knew one of them was going to go. I'll be honest with you, my money was on Dean. Foucan is brilliant. He's such a nice guy. But Dean had him on the grip strength stuff in general, and I think the general ninja stuff, I was confident that Dino would win it. But I know Foucan wouldn't let him win it easy.
No, I didn't see for a minute Seb backing down, but I have to admit, having trained at so many of the ninja parts now with you, Dean, and just seeing you get faster and more fluid and more confident, I had my suspicions from that point that you'd probably have it on speed, on raw obstacle speed. However, I want to talk to you about your race. Now, I'm going to get the name of this obstacle wrong. I called it the flying mustache, but I don't think it is.
Wingnuts.
Right?
Wingnuts, yeah.
Okay, is it the wingnuts that twist?
No.
You know the one I mean now?
Before the cargo net.
Yeah, before the cargo net. Right, now.
Yeah, whisk away.
Whisk away.
Whisk away, that's the one. Thanks. What I want to know is this. I have watched both episodes now, and I've noticed something that all the pro elites do that I think only Dino has done as well, which is jump. Literally, it's almost like you slap the handles and then go to the net. Whereas most people seem to jump, catch, and get caught if it twists. You guys, the elites that is, seem to have got it dialed in that it can be done in a one hit. Now, have you got practice on that? Has somebody from a different series said, look, this is the technique? Because it just seems so dialed in for everyone that's where you're making up time, apart from, I think, on your eyes, because I don't think Dino really misses on things like that where swinging is involved. So, Ruel, what's going on there? Is it just knowledge? Is it experience?
So a lot of the elites have obviously been on other shows. So
Yeah,
Germany,
of course.
Poland. In fact, the guy I raced last week, he's Poland's number one.
Yes,
So a lot of people
right.
have experience with all the different obstacles. We did get to use them. I think I had 2 swings, 2 goes on that before, but we didn't. So we do get an extra. They sort of made it out like we get to play on these obstacles all day. That is not how it works. Okay.
Right.
From our kind of point of view, maybe I'll go into more detail later, but we got to have a go on maybe a few of them that we wasn't sure about, and then we would choose to kind of to show everyone the audience what each obstacle was. We would choose 1 or 2 to go along.
Right.
But they didn't want to get. We only had like 2 outfits, and we only had 1 pair of shoes for most of us. So they didn't want to get us wet. So they didn't want to let us practice. But then in the same breath, they sort of wanted to make sure we get through. And we're like, well, if you want to definitely get us through, we need to have a few goes on some of these things, because we have got to run that extra speed, that extra 2 obstacles. So we have got a bit of pressure on us to catch these people up. And you don't want to show where the elite ninja falls in, like I did on the first one. But yeah, I mean, so they do give us a couple, but not nearly as much as people might actually thought. We don't get to play on them loads.
Okay.
In actual fact, the day before, obviously the obstacles are you guys' obstacles, so we probably got more play on those obstacles that we never actually got to use, because we didn't. The obstacles that you guys run on against each other. We did a lot of testing. That was a testing phase, so we tested a lot of those obstacles. So the day before, that was kind of like we're doing all these obstacle testing for a couple of days, but not on any of the obstacles that we're going to use. And then the next day, it's like, right, these are the obstacles you're going to use, and you get to check out a couple of them. So yeah.
so Andy, I want to talk to you. So you get through your heat, you smashed it, right? It was great, and then you're up against the professional. Now, I know you said emergency medicine, cool on the outside, screaming on the inside. You did look a tiny bit more nervous when you lined up against the professional, I'll be honest. But only for a moment. Literally before the beeps. As soon as those beeps went, that kind of steely look came on again, and you looked like, right, bring it on, I'm off again. How was it in your head?
So in the head again, shrinking steps, right? Same plan, don't fall the shrinking steps. It's like, yes, plan 1's worked. Do you know, in my head for the second race, it was, let's just try and get through this, rather than let's try and race the ninja. I was just going for as quick as I could do on the course.
Right.
Now, there's certain obstacles I'd never done before, and that includes that bridge of balls. I had no idea how to do that. And I kind of just thought, if I go as quick as I possibly can, I'll get it over with quicker.
Yeah, it looked like the last ball, maybe you were a bit too near the front of it and it slid backwards on you. I'm not sure, because you did sort of end up...
I mean, I kind of hit it with my...
I
think it's... Yeah, I hit it with my heel and it started rotating the thing. So, it's the sort of thing I think if I had 2 or 3 goes on, I'd probably have got down how you're meant to do that. But
Andy, next year.
Exactly, that's what the next year's for, isn't it?
Next year, right? Now, Dean, okay. You're up against the professional, then you're up against this man here. And again, it's not like we haven't got form here. You know how each other is. How was it? And I wasn't quite sure in your post-interview what you said happened. Did you leap too high and go above what you were trying to drop down onto? Was that what caused you to drop in the end?
Yeah. So on the snapback,
there
was a jump to the trapeze bar. You'll see in the program, there's some hesitation for me.
Yeah.
When we was watching the course testers do the course, I think it was Krista Stefano was testing that one for us. He jumped from the trapeze bar and he only just got like 3 fingers on, caught it with one hand, held it, and got himself back on again. So I thought at that point, he's about the similar height to me. And if he's struggling to get it, I want to make sure that I'll take my time and stick that landing, make sure I get that bar. So that was my first concern. I think after I caught the bar, I went to go on my first swing to span across.
Right.
Didn't realise that my ape index isn't long enough to make the distance on it. So I saved myself on one arm, came back, and thought, okay, I'll put more into it. So I think it took 2 swings.
Yeah.
Put too much power in, I was over the height of the bar, hit my hands on the perspex. You've literally got maybe 2 or 3 inches between the bar and the top of the perspex. So you'll see if you slow it down, the left hand hits the perspex, missed the catch and fell in.
No.
I guess the takeaway from this is I need to train less. I can make the catches.
Hi, it's Matt. I just want to tell you about HC Fit Ninja Training Gym in Liverpool. It's owned and operated by one of the most recognisable ninjas in the series history, Henry Cookie, so you already know it's an amazing place. But let me tell you some more. It's chock full of obstacles and challenges, some inspired by the television show, some coming straight out of Henry's own ninja imagination. He runs classes for every age group, from adults through to children, beginners, through to one-to-one coaching for professional and elite athletes. So what are you waiting for? If you want to train to see if you could be the next Ninja Warrior champion, I'd suggest getting down to HC Fit in Liverpool. Now, you can find the address right there, scrolling past your eyes. Oh, and while it's there, let me tell you this. On Sunday, the 6th of November, Henry's hosting one of his now famous ninja competitions. So you can try your hand at Ninja Warrior for real. You'll be joined by plenty of athletes that you'll recognise from the show, and there are cash prizes on offer. As well as, for the first time, Henry will be crowning a male and female champion. So come on, what are you waiting for? Go hc-fit.co.uk. Go now. Go. You know
Same on
what?
season 5.
It's ninja, isn't it? It's ifs, buts, and maybes, though. That's what it is. Anyone that... It doesn't matter where you get to. If you get to that point where it's the difference between falling in and making it and you fall, we can all... And I've done it for 5 years since I was on now. You go through it hundreds and hundreds of times of what if. But as Andy just said, hey, that's what season, the next season's for, isn't it? Come back and get some revenge. Shelley, are you going to come back? Have you got the fire now? Are you going to be living in true function, nailing all the ninja obstacles? Is that now the plan?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think for me, it's definitely building that confidence. I think there's a lot of it in terms of actually just, do you know what? I managed to conquer things that I never thought I could do. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about ninja. So I'd like to say I want to learn how to fly. So I think most ninjas will know what that means in terms of taking those big leaps and stuff. I think I've got a lot of specific ninja rather than OCR training to do. Because I did say that if I could get hold of the rings, and as you'll notice in the race, when I get on the rings, that's actually where I overtake Emma on that last obstacle. I'm like, if I can grab onto something, I'm there. It's just the get into it. Sometimes it's a bit of a...
Hey, it is a difference. I mean, we're lucky. We're working in partnership with, as you know, UK OCR and UK OSF for this podcast. So we've got lots of folks like you who've maybe come at it from the OCR background and are looking at ninja, and you could go, oh, this looks pretty much the same with less burpees, but it is actually really different.
Less mud.
Less mud, less burpees. Maybe that, Ruel, that's it. See, I've got one for next season. Burpees instead of water. That's the penalty. Ditch the water and just do burpees if people miss an obstacle. There you go. I think it might slow the race down. Emma, this was second time round for you.
Yeah.
Are we going to go third time round?
Of course.
Of course. I knew there'd be no pause. I knew there would.
Yeah.
And how did it feel? You're getting up the wall again. You were... I don't think I've seen anyone smile as much in a long time.
I think I nearly fell. There's a mat at the top of the wall, and as I jumped up on the mat, I think my feet nearly came off the mat. So I jolted my knees. You can see my knees jolt. Where I was like, oh god, I nearly fell over. Because last time I was on it, I didn't get up the wall. I fell on the fourth obstacle. So that was my first time up the wall too.
It's such a good feeling, right? It really is.
Yeah.
So I want to now delve into the pro world. Ruel, I'm going to bring you on all on your own. I want to have a bit of a conversation with you now, okay? So it's all right. Don't panic. Don't panic. This is just what's interesting for me is to find out how this all works, okay? So you've got this team. Who put the team together? how long or how far in advance was the team put together, and were you able to draw from each other's experience? Because as you say, there's some serious experienced athletes and ninjas in that squad.
I would love to tell you that information, but I don't really know much of it. Honestly,
Oh, really?
No. To be honest, so I found out who the team were. I think I was one of the first ones on. I imagine Shane was probably the first, since he's been working with ATS for years. Then when I spoke to Martin really early on, like I've known for quite a long time that was on it, and then I started to get names of other people that were going to be on. They didn't know about Tim, whether they was going to let him go on the show because he won, or whether they're going to get him on as a pro. But I'd actually reached out to all of the ninjas to do some training together, and I just put like a group message, and I didn't actually get any replies. I think they, and then Shane tried to get. To be honest, we only found out within really weeks of the show that I only found those guys that were on it within weeks before the show. To be fair, so I didn't even speak to, probably, I think I maybe spoke to Shane, and that was it. And that was it wasn't like we trained or anything. I really wanted to get a team together where we trained together and did stuff, but it didn't really happen. Hopefully next year. I know for Joe and Lynn, they'd never done any ninja before, ever. So they've done no Ninja Warrior background stuff. It's all just their job core. And obviously the rest of the girls, they were like, they've been ninjas for a long, long time. And obviously Tim and Shane and Isaac are all in the ninja world of many years. So so now, other than that, we didn't train much.
That's fascinated me. I have to admit, I thought they'd do much more notice, but the wonders of TV. Now, here's the question, because you alluded to this talking about your races, and particularly against Dean here, right? Your position, starting 2 obstacles back, being the chaser, does that give you some sort of a mental advantage, do you think? Because you know that your contestants or your opponents already got pressure they've created, because they know you're chasing them. Are you assuming they'll be hesitant or make a mistake?
I think so. I mean, if you've watched any of my previous episodes of Ninja Warrior, I was generally I'm quite nervous on the show. So I know that other people will be nervous, but I think all of us ninjas were probably just as nervous as the contestants. We just kind of played it off with part of our character, if you like, like we wasn't really, nervous at all. But as I say, a lot of the obstacles, for example, snapback, the first time I touched it was exactly the same time as the first time the person I was racing first touched it. So I hadn't used the snapback at all, or the wing nuts. I did have the advantage of using the wing nuts when I did years ago with Germany, which was actually harder because you had to use side on. But I think we still have the same pressure. We've got to catch up with you, and then we have the extra added pressure of the fact that we're named the elite. So if we do fall in, we look really silly to a degree, So it's really kind of, everyone's like, we're supposed to be elite. Why is he falling in? But so we have to catch you up, and if we don't catch you up, we just look. You look good either way as a contestant, but as a ninja, we kind of have to catch up. We don't catch up, we fall in. We look rubbish,
Oh, it's really interesting.
So there is a pressure for us, but obviously we try to ramp up the pressure for the contestants. So we were trying to kind of get everyone excited backstage and try to our pods are next to each other, but we can't see each other. And they didn't know. So the contestants don't know who's racing who. I actually think, now I'm remembering, there was a time, Dino, I don't know if you remember this, you come up to me and said to me, said something about who do you know who's racing or anything. And I was like, and at that point I knew.
I knew
I was racing him, but I couldn't say nothing, obviously. That happened a couple of times to me. People were like, "Oh, who's going against who?" I'm like, "I can't tell you." And I'm thinking, "I'm gonna be racing you in a bit."
Oh, you're kidding, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all. Well, I mean, it's funny, but oh man, Dean, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you have a hope that you'd get a particular person as a pro, or given the kind of contestant you are, competitor you are, did you not mind?
It didn't matter. No. My focus was purely on each obstacle. So if anyone saw me backstage, I'd rehearse the whole course from start to finish. So I was literally going back and forth, going, okay, I've got step, platform to a wheel, swing from the wheel to the... So I'd rehearse everything. So in my mind, it was all about, okay, catch with 2 hands from here, span this one, match it, hips back, feet up high, drive it through.
Yeah.
You know, pendulum. So I'm thinking technique all the way through. If the ninja was to catch me, then the ninja catches me. But as long as I do the best I can in that moment of time, that's what matters to me. Yeah.
Wow.
It didn't matter who I was up against. It was me in the course at that moment in time.
Wow. Now, you touch on training there. So the reason I've got everyone up on the screen is because I want to touch upon training. Now, Shelley, you've mentioned True Function. I know you're a total ninja, Dean, but there are places like HC Fit up in Liverpool. But we've also now got, and I think, Andrew, did you say you've been to Ninja Warrior Parks as well as, I think Shelley's mentioned it as well. We've got these sites around the country, and as I say, Dean's been very kind enough to, keep me involved in some of the opening of those. But have you all been, by show of hands initially, been to a Ninja Warrior adventure park so far? Yay! Everyone's been to one. Okay. Cards on the table now, and I'm going to ask this every episode because I know what my answer is. And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to go around this virtual room here. Do you think these are a fantastic chance for people to go and just get some sense of what it's like on the obstacles? I know you're not going to get wet. Falling in foam balls isn't the same thing. But Emma, for you, do you think they just give that bit of experience?
Yeah, definitely. Especially for smaller, for children as well, like teenagers. They're going to be going to those parks, hopefully being inspired and wanting to go on the show when they're old enough. Yeah. So I think it's a really, really good. I take my kids to the Southampton one, and they absolutely love it there as much as I do.
Yeah, absolutely, right, absolutely. I mean, they're phenomenal. And Andy, which one's your local one? Where have you been?
Oh, I don't really have a local one, so I kind of travel to all of them. We've got True Function, love that place. With Dion. He's amazing. Just speaking to the guy, you always find out a new way of tackling an obstacle. Yeah. We've got Henry's place up in Liverpool, HC Fit. I've been there, and obviously we've been to see Dino as well. Again, every time I speak to Dino, I always learn something new at Total Ninja. Yeah. And I've just built a ninja obstacle course in my back garden as well.
I have seen. I am incredibly jealous. It looks fantastic, but that says someone's got the bug then, because you've built your own course. Come on. It
was totally for my son. It's not for me at all.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's no adult-sized obstacles there at all, Andrew. No. All for children, yeah, I believe it. Shelley, how about you? So I know you've been to True Function. Have you been to the Ninja Warrior Parks as well?
Yeah, so Gloucester's my local one. It was the first one I ever went to. I did actually have it since being on the show. People at my work have actually all come with me, and some of them brought their children. And I mean, brilliant. Getting people up a wall, getting some of my co-workers completely sort of out of their comfort zones. I've got a few youngsters who can't wait to apply to the show now, and they want to train with me once a month. I think we're hoping to do, and it's really cool.
Love that. And now I'm going to talk to you both here. So Ruel and Dean, I know you've both got kids, and come on, I remember the daddy and daughter parkour video that went viral. And Dean, I've seen your kids train, and my goodness, every time I see them, they just get better and better. So I know that for you two, as well as everyone else, getting kids involved, getting them excited about this as a sport and parkour is really important. But do you get a real buzz when you go to all the different training facilities, seeing the kids trying and wanting to beat things as well? Dean, how about you?
So that's the main thing really that keeps me going. With the events we do for Ninja Sport, it's all about giving back to those that have been watching it. Yeah. Most of the time it's going to be children, obviously. And for me, it's payment in itself to see somebody that's maybe a little bit shy or doesn't have the confidence to go, okay, what we're going to do, forget about completing the obstacle. All we're going to focus on is a jump from here, touch the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, break it down into small steps. So you touch the bar, now we're going to try and jump and catch the bar.
Yeah.
Can we do 1 transition, 2 transitions, 3 transitions? And as you start to instill that confidence in them and see them shine, you get that spark there, and you know that this is something they're gonna work towards. And the parents watching as well, they're watching, going, "I wish I could do that." You can do. Go and get a wristband.
Yeah,
and I'll show you. Have a look around.
Absolutely.
So these parks are perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect for families, for younger generations. We've had grandparents with the children.
Yeah.
And there's kind of there's a split between the Ninja Warrior parks. It's more of like it's a commercial experience.
Yeah.
Whereas like Henry's HC Fitness and Dion's True Function are a training facility. So there's a big difference between the two. If you want to learn to become a ninja, those would be your best bets. If you just want to try it out and have the experience of almost being on TV, these branded parks look the part. So for everyone.
And now, Ruel, I can't let you go without mentioning your place as well. So Paramount Parkour's been going how long? Is it over a decade now? 10 years?
Yeah, 10 years coming up.
Wow.
But I mean, I've been teaching parkour for 15, 16, however many years. I have no idea. But I've been doing it for over 20 years. So I've got quite a lot of background in parkour. To me, I opened the first parkour gym in the UK, and I think in Europe. But teaching kids has kind of been a massive thing for me for years. I think I teach currently around 400 to 500 kids a week. So it's pretty much what I do. My kids, we have our own channel, which actually is my Dacosta Dynasty channel. That's kind of my family thing. We train together, we play together, and that's kind of what we do. So for me and the Ninja Parks, the Milton Keynes one obviously not long opened up. My kids absolutely love it there. I've set some records there, and the kids have set some challenges there as well, to be fair. So love it, absolutely love it. It's like exactly as Dino's saying though. Same with, I have some ninja stuff within my gym. We took a lot of it down, to be fair, because it is primarily parkour. But we have the salmon ladder, we have a wall, cliffhanger and stuff like that. But they're the places to train actually for this show. The play parks are just to inspire others. I would love. I think True Function has not True Function. Dino's one, Total Ninja. Sorry, they seem to have a lot more adult ninja training stuff, and that's clearly because Dino works there. Whereas a lot of the other parks, I reckon they need like a little space for just actually training. Like solid training. Not just your sort of play stuff. But I'd love to see that in all of the parks, to be fair.
Yeah, I think as Dean used the word, it is a commercial balance, isn't it? And I think what they're doing, I did get figures. Dean probably knows how many people have visited since they opened, and I want to say over 200,000, but I know that I'm nowhere near. But it has done this amazing thing, particularly while the show wasn't on the air, of just keeping people interested, keeping people keen to do this ninja thing. And now this show's back, a lot of them have parallel courses, whether they're the short courses or slightly tougher ones. And I think just giving anyone that chance to go out with a family or with a group of mates or work colleagues, as you were saying, Shelley, and just go, come on, if you want to know what it was like, all right, it's not like doing it in front of 3,000 people in a studio audience and having the presenters sort of commentating on your every movement, but it's as good as it's going to get. But you're right, the difference between that and training is it is a world apart. As I say, Henry's got a competition up on the 6th of November, and they're fantastic competitions that he puts on. He's having a male and female winner and all sorts, so it is wonderful. So folks, we're nearly at the end of this, and for me it's fantastic just getting to speak to you all. It kind of keeps my passion ignited for the show as much as anything. But I'm going to ask you all this question, right? I'm going to go one at a time. You've got one thing that you can say to someone who's sitting on the sofa every weekend, either saying, I think I could, or I wish I had, right? I think I could do that, or I wish I'd done it. What do you say to that person? Shelley, how about you?
I guess I've got two things. I guess like the main motivation one would be you don't know until you try. You know, people don't look at me and think ninja. You know, it just anyone can have a crack at it. And then also, I think something just in terms of obviously the pressure and your mental health awareness, crying, still trying is one. You can be terrified, but you can do it anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. Yeah, that's fantastic. Andy, how about you?
Yeah, I think for me, you know, I think everyone should give this a go. Give yourself a challenge. It's not a challenge if you know you can do it already. So get out there and give it a go.
Yeah, I go with that. Absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Emma, 2 times giving it a go. You've obviously got the bug. So what do you say to that person sat on the sofa?
Yeah, definitely get up and just give it a go. As you can see, like what's so nice is the ninja community is amazing. Everyone is so supportive, always looking to try and make people better and support each other. So they can always reach out to someone that's either been on the show or one of the elites, and they'll give them all the support they need to get on that show or try and apply for the show. So just do it and try it. Yeah,
absolutely. Ruel, how about you? You've been at this a long time. You've been on the show in several guises. What are you saying to people? Because you must have people saying these things to you all the time, Andy. So what's your thing?
I literally get this every day, and I'm always telling people, look, just get on it. But I don't just say just try it or just go for it. I like people to train for it. I don't just want people to go, oh yeah, I'm going to give it a go and just apply and throw their application for me and then willy-nilly just turn up to this ninja course. When I say this to my kids, it's not just the taking part, it's the training. That's what I'm more proud of in my kids. So whenever my kids, we're doing something, I always say to them that it's not just taking part, it's about the training. I don't care how well you do, it's more about how well you train to get as good as you are.
Yeah, preparation and giving yourself the best shot, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Just get. Do you know what? And most of the fun is had in training. To be honest, the show's only a small part of it. When you start to actually, like you say, meet the community and actually get into some of these parks, competitions, when you actually train for it, you get a love for it. And even if you're not on the show, you just love it anyway.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, 100%. And Dean, you know, I think I've heard people call you Mr. Ninja before, and I don't think I could agree more with that. You've inspired so many people between you and Ruel, but what do you say? You must hear this day in, day out, but what do you say? If somebody says shoulda, coulda, what's the response?
The one thing that I hear a lot in the parks, because people are coming down with their friends and families and whatnot, and it's usually the parents that are like, I'd love to, but I'm too old. And it's always, so how old are you? Oh, I'm 32, I'm 34. It's like, okay. I was 43 in July just gone, so I'm rocking it for over 40s. I'm in the best shape of my life, never been fitter. You know, no intent to slow down anytime soon. No. You know, we do competitions and whatnot, which again is another place that if people want to try ninja, I'd say come to the competitions.
Yes.
You know, the community, the ninja community will help everybody, whether it's your first competition or if you've done multiple competitions. We'll talk and discuss techniques and tactics.
Yeah.
When I was on with Sebastian for my race, the two of us, literally before we went out, was talking techniques. What you're going to go for? What's your, you know, so we're there to, even though we're competing against each other, we're all friends, we're all family, we want to help each other at the same time.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
My final say, you're never too old. Give it a try. Find someone that's had experience before, or head to a local park, one of the training facilities. People will be there to help you.
Yeah.
And you'll enjoy it just as much as we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I'm going to say, you know, with you and I both sat here in these shirts, Ninja Sport UK was set up, and I say at the start of this, we are no more than super fans of this sport, of the show, of everything that goes around with it. We are all incredibly passionate, and more than anything, we want everyone to feel like they can give this a go and they can try and they deserve to try. So please do follow us across social media. Look at Ninja Sport UK, NS UK. You can find us everywhere. All the links will go in the show notes. But as several of you have said, if you are ever online thinking, how do I start? Where do I start? What do I do? That's what Ninja Sport's for. You can send us a message on any of the platforms, Facebook or Instagram, ask a question and someone will reply and someone will say, come and meet us at, whether it's one of the Ninja Sport parks, one of the training facilities, and we will try and help you and show you how to go. But for now, folks, to all of you, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making episode 2 of this series just utterly phenomenal and compelling viewing. And I take my hat off again to everyone at Potato and ITV for bringing the show back and for making it as good as it is. It is a truly brilliant format. And what I just want to end with, just so that everyone can see this online, is I do have some current formats here, so we're going to show you just on screen here. This is where we're at currently. You can take a screenshot of this in terms of the heats and the races that we know have happened so far. So we've got the men here, and if I show you there, we've got the ladies, and I see a certain Emma on screen there as well, making her way into the next rounds for the grand final. So we've got all of that on screen, so you can take a screenshot. Remember, this new format is very different. The race format is deliberately different, but it is also fantastic. I think it's making for excellent viewing. But thanks you so much, folks. It's been an absolute pleasure. I hope to see you all somewhere on course, at a park, and more importantly, back on the show next season. Thank you, everybody. Take care, keep trading, and I will see everyone else for episode 3 of this series next week. Until then, thank you very much, and thank you for listening to the Ninja Sport Podcast.